Hi, this is Jerry again with the Fellowship of Common Sense. Today's weekly message is going to be about common sense, not so common. It affects us in so many ways that we don't even know or think about. In every aspect of our life, common sense comes into play. When we're confronted with a situation that appears to us, and do we use common sense? Do we handle things really the way that we should? Or think about things before we do it, or do we already know how to handle it? So many times we know the right way to do things and we take the wrong path anyways. We go against that internal feeling that we have, like intuition. You know, the women talk about the women's intuition. Men have it too. We're just not as in tune to it. And it's something about, I know myself personally, I've always known the right way to do things and always the right way to handle things, but a lot of the time I've intentionally chosen to do things another way because that wasn't the way I wanted to do it. I didn't want to do things the right way. I wanted to do it Jerry's way. You know, when you're talking to somebody and they ask you a question about something or they want to know something, do you give them good advice or do you steer them wrong and just tell them the smart aleck or flip way of handling stuff? You know, do you use compassion when you deal with other people? And do you really care about what they think or how they feel? Um, when I was younger, I was very rash, and whatever came into my mind, I would just go ahead and do it without thinking of the consequences. How is this going to affect me later in the future? And more importantly, how's it going to affect the people in my life that I care about? You know, if I do this, what's going to be the consequences of my action? And recently, we had a shooting where this young kid, he was 21 years old, and he shot another kid of the same age over some drugs. And they got him. They picked him up a couple days later, and now he's facing life in prison. So he's going to spend the rest of his life over one bad decision. He obviously didn't think about what he was doing. He just knew what he wanted. He wanted to steal those drugs from the other kid, so he was willing to take that kid's life. Everything that kid had and everything he will have. He was willing to kill him over something, over some drugs. It doesn't matter if it's drugs or money or a woman or whatever it's about. It doesn't matter. You're going to take such a rash decision and do something so stupid that it's going to affect you in such a negative way. Now, in a much smaller case, we'll have a situation where, like, okay, say you're at the bank and the lady gives you too much money back, too much change, and you pull off and you see, wow, she gave me too much change. I wasn't supposed to get that back. And we know that it's wrong. You drive off anyways and just keep the money. Well, at the end of the day, that clerk's, her teller, her drawer's going to come up short, and she's the one that's going to have to make up the difference. Do you care about that or don't you? Well, common sense would tell you should. And if you had any concern for other people, you would turn around and take the money back and give it to her. Now, I know that sounds kind of petty, but it's really not in the bigger scheme of things. And it's the way you conduct your life, Do you really think about what you're doing and think about the people around you? Think in the long term, as far as plan ahead on what you're going to do, and especially financially and physical. I know I had to have heart surgery recently. I had 3 plugged arteries, and my heart was barely functioning. I almost died. I had a heart attack. When I was younger, and my whole life, I've eaten a lot of fatty foods, stuff with fried and deep grease or oil, or whatever you want to call it, and all that built up on the side of my arteries. I wasn't using common sense. All I cared was the fact that the food tasted good, and that's all I thought about, and I had to pay the price for it later on. People that drink too much, later on their liver goes out, and then they can't get another one because they're on a list of 100 people, and now they need a new liver and they're going to die over it. Are we really considering about what's going to happen? Do we care about what's going to happen with our children? All our decisions should be focused on the future and taking care of ourselves and our family and stuff, but we don't use common sense. We just do what we want to do. We live on passion and not common sense. And I think we should take this time and really focus on it and think about how things affect us and if we're making the right decisions. And that's our thought for the week. And I hope it helps you out somehow. Okay, talk to you again next week. Thanks. Bye.